38 times 52, I want to know what my answer should be around so that if I get an answer like 5,200,000 and something, I know I'm way off base. So 38 rounds to 40, 52 rounds to 50, count my zeros, 1, 2, and 4 times 5 is 20. So my answer should be around 2,000 if I do it properly. So let's just talk simple rounding. 4, 7, 5. When it doesn't tell you to round to a specific place value, you round to the highest place value. So the highest place value here is going to be hundreds. I always recommend writing on top like ones, tens, hundreds above the number so that if it says round to the tens and it's a really large number, you know exactly which one is the tens because you already wrote it down and you won't be frazzled during a test and make a mistake carelessly. So I underline the digit I'm going to round to, which is the hundreds, and I have to look to the right. The number is a 7. If the number is between 0 and 4, and this stays the same and everything else becomes zeros. If the number is between 5 and 9, then the 7 makes the 4 become a 5, and I fill in the rest of the space with zeros. So 132. I'm going to round to the hundreds, so I look to the right. It's a 3. So the 1 remains the same, and everything else becomes a 0. Okay? This is 1,000, and this is 10,000. Again, I'm going to round to the highest place value if I didn't specify. So I underline the number in the 10,000s, and I look to the right. It's between 0 and 4, so the 2 remains the same. I fill in everything else with a 0. But let's say I want to round to the hundreds. I have to underline the number in the hundreds, and I look to the right. So the 2 and the 4 have nothing to do with nothing. Everything after the 1 is what's going to happen. So the 3 is between 0 and 4, so the 1 remains the same, and everything else becomes a 0. Let's say it's 5, 5, 5, 5. And I want to round to the thousands. Okay, I look to the right. This 5 makes that 5 become a 6, and everything else becomes a 0. If I'm rounding to the hundreds, I underline the digit in the hundreds. And I look to the right. So anything to the left of what I care about remains the same. This 5 makes that 5 become a 6, and everything else would become a 0. If I'm rounding to the tens, that 5 and that 5 have nothing to do with nothing. That 5 makes that 5 become a 6, and everything else becomes a 0. That's it. That is rounding in a nutshell. So I'm going to put some problems on the board, and I'd like you to try and solve it with your pencil and paper, and then I will do it on the board silently. Did you get 700? Me too. I want you to round to the tens. One, 4, 6, 0. Okay, I'm going to do another. I would like to round to the thousands. $4,000. I'd like to round to the hundreds. Okay, and last I'm going to round to the tens. And that becomes an 8. Because this 9 makes this become a 10, so I need the 0 and I